J-Lo, who has famously declared, "Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got, I'm still Jenny from the block," has weathered tales of her alleged snobbery for years. In just one instance reported by the Daily Star, when contractors were hired for a job that could take up to a year on J-Lo's old house, those contractors were reportedly informed that they were not to communicate directly with the international star. A source told the tabloids that she has made it clear that if any of the contractors, drivers, or domestic help make eye contact or speak to her, she will not be impressed. J-Lo's supposed superficial superstar antics apparently extend to service workers who just aren't directly in her employ, but who have the unfortunate one-time experience of being snubbed by her. A source said she doesn't speak to salespeople, she doesn't speak to restaurant people, she doesn't speak to hotel staff, flight attendants, she only talks through her assistants. A United Airlines flight attendant backed up this claim, sharing a similar experience with the singer. "I just said, 'What can I get you to drink?' But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge them." They added that she turned her head away and told her personal assistant, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." She wouldn't even look at me. Now, according to the sources I found, Jennifer has an extreme thing about people looking at her, other than when she's on stage. Then everybody's gotta look at her. Otherwise, if small, unimportant people look at her, and God forbid, open their little unimportant mouths to speak to her holiness, she does whatever she can to retaliate. If they're servers or anyone she can get fired, she gets them fired. In 2013, J-Lo's morals came into question when it was reported that she earned in the neighborhood of $10 million performing for shady dictators, at least according to news outlets. Also, apparently, the Human Rights Foundation and a lot of folks were very critical of J-Lo's decision to put on a private performance in Turkmenistan for the president at the time, whose government allegedly restricted free speech and imprisoned those who spoke against the nation's alleged corruption. J-Lo's then publicist Mark Young issued a response, however, and the statement made J-Lo's team appear really ill-informed. They said this was not a government-sponsored event or political in nature. The event was vetted by her reps. Had there been knowledge of human rights issues of any kind, Jennifer would not have attended. Well, that statement probably didn't go over well, considering how Human Rights Watch's Rachel Denber, Deputy Director for Europe and Central Asia Division, explained that J-Lo's team didn't have to dig deep for information that would have revealed the controversy surrounding the whole presidential leadership corruption stuff. It was something even J-Lo herself could have discovered. Denber literally said, "Just do a few Google clicks, look up the human rights record, it's right there, it's easy to find." Well, 2 months after the backlash, Young was fired from J-Lo's team. With the whole fiasco going boom in everybody's face, was it possible Young eventually took the fall for what appeared to be some blame shifting after the fact? I think so. Forbes credits makeup artist Scott Barnes with creating the signature technique that became Lopez's iconic glow, which in turn became the preferred look of the era in the early 2000s. The makeup artist has worked with J-Lo since the year 2000, whether it was serving as J-Lo's personal makeup artist for her role in 2019's Hustlers, or for the Super Bowl performance, or whatever it may be. And while their working relationship and friendship spans 2 decades, there was a time when Barnes apparently didn't have her love. Barnes spilled the beans during an interview on the Jeff Probst show after rumors circulated that Barnes and 2 others leaked plans of J-Lo and Anthony's secret marriage. J-Lo's team shunned him. He said, "Nobody would talk to me. It was like I had some sort of disease." When the truth came out that Barnes did not leak the news or even know about the wedding ahead of time, he received a phone call, presumably from J-Lo, whom Barnes claimed said the following: "It was like, hey, it was a big misunderstanding, we have a lot of stuff coming up and I really miss you, so let's just get back to work." And although Barnes was extremely diplomatic in his recounting of the temporary fallout, it's clear that he never received a direct apology, or even a real apology. What's even more interesting is that considering Barnes and Lopez quickly reconciled, he chose not to keep this story about her in-house. So I guess he's the one person she didn't have sign an NDA? Hakan Manoukian began chauffeuring J-Lo and her then husband Mark Anthony around in 2005 before eventually being promoted to Lopez's staff full-time as her personal head of security and transportation in early 2011, at least according to TMZ. By September of that year, Manoukian was gone from J-Lo's staff, after which he filed a lawsuit for breach of contract and wrongful termination against J-Lo, her company, New Yorkin Productions, and manager Benny Medina. Manoukian claimed his agreement with J-Lo included a $72,000 yearly salary with additional production pay, potentially increasing his compensation to $200,000 per year. But according to tabloids, however, he claimed that he received no production pay or overtime whatsoever. CNN further reported that Manoukian's suit claimed that he dealt with intolerable labor conditions, such as working more than 40 hours a week and being prevented from taking proper meal periods, which forced him to resign. J-Lo filed a countersuit seeking a minimum of $20 million in damages, claiming the former driver was allegedly blackmailing her for $2.8 million as he threatened to expose private information he overheard when chauffeuring her. So the countersuit alleged that he became hostile and angry after J-Lo rejected his desire to lead and appoint members to organize a security team for a music video production. J-Lo's countersuit was dismissed in December of 2012, and the singer ended up settling the original lawsuit for undisclosed terms in February of 2013. Wish we knew the terms though. Gilly Eyre was a longtime assistant for J-Lo until 2013 when she reportedly left without informing J-Lo she'd been looking elsewhere for work. Quiet quitting. According to sources, Gilly went to work for Jermaine Dupri a week after he joined Mariah Carey's management team. Now, J-Lo and Mariah Carey have been publicly painted as rivals for quite some time, so Gilly jumping ship to Lopez's big nemesis camp seemed to sting a lot. We're talking like butter on a burn a lot. Reports surfaced that J-Lo's then boyfriend Casper Smart allegedly ruffled feathers with a lot of J-Lo's staff. Casper always insisted that all of Jennifer's staff call him Mr. Smart, and even demanded that Gilly get him drinks. At least that's what a source told online sources. So with Jenny from the block allegedly doing nothing to set him straight, that may have been the breaking point as to why Gilly left. Gilly had enough. She was over it. She'd been looking to leave for some time, and as soon as Mariah hired Jermaine, she quit. J-Lo was stunned. Now, Gilly may not have publicly trashed J-Lo, but is there anything colder than a personal assistant leaving a celeb staff on short notice to go work for their rival? So, how bad did this hurt the former Fly Girl? Well, it's unclear, but in 2015, Page Six revealed that J-Lo reportedly had a no Mariah clause in her contract with her manager Betty Medina, barring him from managing Mariah Carey at the same time as her. So, oop. According to at least several of J-Lo's former staff members, she's earned herself the nickname Paylo because she paid her staff a lot less than they can make elsewhere. We're talking like half of what they can make elsewhere. Now this rumor's been going around for years. We're talking like back in 2003, when Jennifer was first with Ben Affleck. They were out in Vegas, they were having a good time, they had a big win, and Ben was feeling generous. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna tip the dealer $2,000. But before the dealer could actually claim the reward, J-Lo was like, no, you get $200. So, why does J-Lo pay her staff so little? She's like, well, you know what? I had to work hard to get my money, so you have to work hard to get yours. Which, like, I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. If you had to work so hard to earn your money, wouldn't you want to make it easier for others because you know how hard it is? Come on, queen. An ex-private airport employee called J-Lo a nightmare person on Twitter before dishing out several stories about negative interactions with the superstar. Twitter user @MoiraWebb claimed she worked at a private airport on Long Island when J-Lo was in her relationship with Mark Anthony. They said, I have so many stories about her being a rude and nasty person. It's gross to say, but each time she fails at anything, it delights me. So, okay, that's like really intense hating. Surely J-Lo couldn't be that bad, right? Wrong. Come on, you've been here long enough today. So Webb told 5 stories about brutal interactions with J-Lo, and these range. We're talking like some were just kind of bizarre, some of them were just plain mean. But it definitely seems like, if you haven't figured it out already, J-Lo doesn't care about people if you're not her. The first story, she's got this standing catering order, even if she's only going like 20 minutes away, and that order needs to have a KFC bucket. So she was flying out in the morning before KFC opened, and her team freaked out that they didn't have the bucket. So this employee was demanded to go get some, was given some cash. They drove like a bat out of hell and begged KFC to open early, make one for her. They were excited it was J-Lo, they made one. But this worker actually didn't have enough cash. They had to give her a senior citizens discount to cover it. And as they're speeding back, they look up, the flight's taking off. Even though they're like, no, we can't leave without it. So they're like, why did I even have to do that? Well, that's all, folks. See ya.